Friday, welcome to the 3 random things I learned in SaaS Sports Tech and live events for this week. Number 1, don't lie in interviews ever. And how can you check on this if you are hiring new people to your team? When you go to an interview, even stretching the truth, saying things like, I volunteered at the Santa Clarita YMCA. And then when we follow up and ask, okay, who are we going to call the Santa Clarita YMCA to verify that you did this, and we find out that you haven't volunteered in 4 years. That actually happened. Don't go so far as to say that you held a VP of sales role at a company in Jersey and that you were still living in that town when it turns out after we hired you that you were fired from that job 8 months prior for some behavior that led to a just firing on a booze cruise that the company held and currently living on your mom's couch. These are all real stories. Now look, how do you get around this? That's tough. You can't call somebody's current employer. That's really difficult to do. But you know what you can do? You can call them after the person starts working for you. It seems that too many businesses forget to do this. You can always call and ask about them. You don't really care if they say some negative things because they just left. That's understandable. But you can find out things like maybe they left a year earlier than they said. Maybe they never worked there in the first place. Or maybe they weren't even in the top 10 when they said they were the number 3 rep. You gotta find out if the people you're working with in your foxhole are honest. Otherwise, that kind of toxicity is gonna kill your business. That's number 1. 2, I'm just going to read what Tom Brady said here because it's fantastic. Life is about always changing and adapting to different things. Today, the world wants to blame and shame and guilt and fear everything all the time. Sounds familiar. We would never teach our kids to do that. We would never say this is how you're going to get through life the best. You're going to blame everyone when things don't go right, or I always get it my way, but you should never get it your way. It's not how to live a joyful life. Now, obviously, we agree with this, and anybody who owns a business will too, but there's a different point that comes in this. We do a lot of surveying at our business and in businesses that we work with where we talk about happiness, joyfulness, fulfillment, and then different things about the business and how it works. And what we've really seen in the last year and a half is America, in North America, people are unhappy and they're stressed. And it's important for us as a business to make sure we understand that. Everybody brings their whole self to the work, whether we believe that or not. And what's going on in the world will impact your team. And too often when we're having conversations about our team, we're talking about what's happening in the office and to the people around them in the office. We're not talking about what's happening outside of the office. I only wish I had the kind of insight and the kind of foresight that Tom Brady has that's led to a number of challenges, to have so much emotional intelligence to be able to see these things and then capitalize on them for his own gain and winning Super Bowls. That's number 2. Finally, number 3, make the best out of the bad choices that will inevitably come in your business. I'd like to give some examples of where we've had people make some really bad choices, but I don't want to put anybody on blast, so I'll use a personal example. About 6 months ago, I was downstairs in my home and I heard screaming from upstairs. I thought somebody had lost a limb the way they were screaming from multiple people. I ran inside to find that my 6-year-old daughter had cut some of her own hair off. After the melee that ensued and the many talks from mom and dad as to why this maybe wasn't the best choice, the next morning I went downstairs and I asked her over breakfast, so why did you cut your hair, honey? And she told me she cut her hair because she wanted to tape it onto her unicorn toys to make them look beautiful. I asked what happened to the hair and it had been thrown away, understandably and justifiably, so I went and dug it out of the trash. Here we are 6 months later, the unicorns look pretty beautiful to me. This is going to happen in your business. People are going to make really bad choices, really big mistakes. But in all of these things, there is a benefit in how we handle them and how we treat people when that happens, and then how we learn from those judgments. That's it for this week. Catch everybody next week on The 3 Things.